One of the things we need to do a better job publishing are the 5 different Judaisms.
Yes.
What we think of Mosaic Judaism, what's in the Torah, we'll call Mosaic Judaism as ordained in Exodus and so forth.
Right.
But when Jesus makes his appearance, he encounters these characters called Pharisees, ultra-legalists who carried not just the law from the Torah, they also carried along what they called the oral law, things that were passed down orally. They added all kinds of things. And Jesus attacks Pharisaical Judaism with its overemphasis on the Sabbath day being one of them, but only one of one of several things. A big event occurs on 70 AD. Jesus predicted that 38 years later, the temple would be destroyed, and it was.
Yes.
That prediction is in Luke 21. He tells them in advance that's what was going to happen, and it did. In 70 AD, the temple was destroyed, which created a crisis for Jews.
Right.
Because they had been brought up that without the shedding of blood, there's no remission of sins. Now there's no way to shed blood because there is no temple.
Yep.
They've got a huge, huge problem. And they addressed that problem in the Council of Yamnia, where they redefined Judaism into a works trip. And what they do then, they take the oral law that had been carried by the Pharisees, and they record it in what they call the Talmud. So that leads from roughly the 3rd to the 5th century. These things get codified. The oral law gets codified in writing called the Talmud. But the Talmud adds all kinds of things that are not in...
Right.
They have the 613 and all that business.
Yes.
The kosher laws. All that gets bottled in the Talmud. Now, there are 2 Talmuds. There's what they call the Jerusalem Talmud and the Babylonian Talmud. Strangely, of the 2, the authoritative one is the Babylonian Talmud because that academy lasts a couple of centuries longer. But the point is, that leads to what really we should call Talmudic Judaism.
Yes.
They're not through. When you get to the 12th century, you end up with they along the way they're venerating their commentators even above the text. Brilliant people, but they evolved this thing called the Kabbalah, a form of Jewish mysticism carried to extremes, 12th century stuff.
Yep.
When you get to the 18th century, there's a reaction against that called the Hasidics. So you now have 5 different flavors of Judaism.
Yes.
When you talk about Judaism, what do you mean?